I think about, man, I have to perform songs every single night or every other night.
At 39, Bruno Mars stood at a point in his life where fame no longer felt like something he was chasing. It felt like something chasing him. For years, the world had seen him as the flawless performer. The sequin suits, the effortless vocals, the stadiums filled with screaming fans, the records that seemed impossible to break. But behind the polished image, a different narrative had been building online, in tabloids, and across social media. Rumors about his private life, his finances, and even his relationships had circulated for years without clear answers. Some called it exaggerated gossip. Others insisted there was truth hidden beneath the noise. And now, at 39, Bruno Mars finally addressed it, not in a dramatic press conference, but in a quiet, carefully chosen moment that left fans questioning everything they thought they knew. Bruno's journey to fame had always been part legend, part reality. He grew up in a musical environment where performing wasn't a hobby. It was survival. From a very young age, he was already on stage, singing and dancing long before most kids understood what fame even meant. That early exposure shaped him in ways he would later describe as both a blessing and a burden. It taught him discipline, timing, and charisma, but it also took away a normal childhood. While other children were learning routines in school, he was learning stage cues, rehearsing sets, and performing for crowds that expected perfection every time he stepped under the lights. As he transitioned into adulthood, the shine of early success did not guarantee stability. Like many young artists, Bruno faced the unpredictable nature of the music industry. There were moments of rejection, years of uncertainty, and stretches where he struggled to find his identity as an artist. Before the world fully recognized his name, he worked behind the scenes writing songs, shaping sounds, and helping other performers achieve hits. It was a period of learning, but also a period of invisibility, where his voice existed in the industry, but not his face. When he finally broke into global fame, everything changed almost overnight. His music dominated charts, his performances became cultural events, and his image turned into one of the most recognizable in modern pop. But success, as he would later hint in rare interviews, came with pressure that few people understood. Fame meant constant visibility, constant expectations, and constant speculation. The more successful he became, the more the public wanted to know not just about his music, but about his life. And that curiosity eventually turned into rumors. For years, online discussions began circulating claims about Bruno Mars' personal finances, suggesting extravagant gambling habits and alleged debts tied to his lifestyle in Las Vegas. Some stories claimed he was tied to long-term performance contracts that were less about artistic passion and more about financial obligation. Others exaggerated his spending habits, painting a picture of a superstar caught in a cycle of winnings and losses behind closed doors. None of these claims were ever officially verified, but in the age of viral content, verification often mattered less than attention. The rumors spread fast because they were dramatic. A global pop star, a Vegas residency, high-stakes gambling tables, private jets, and luxury lifestyles. It created a story people wanted to believe, even without evidence. Fans debated it online, some defending him fiercely, others questioning how much of it could possibly be true. The narrative grew so large that it began to overshadow actual news about his music. At the same time, Bruno continued performing. On stage, nothing about his energy changed. He still delivered shows with precision, still commanded audiences with ease, still performed as if every concert was the most important one of his life. But those close to him reportedly noticed a shift in how private he had become. He stopped engaging with speculation, avoided addressing rumors directly, and focused instead on controlling what he could, his craft. Then came the moment that reignited everything. During a period of intense online discussion, a wave of posts resurfaced old claims about his finances and personal life. The rumors evolved quickly, becoming more exaggerated with each retelling. Some accounts insisted he was under financial pressure from long-term commitments. Others claimed he was quietly restructuring his career to manage losses that were never publicly acknowledged. The internet treated it like a puzzle, piecing together fragments of hearsay, interviews, and assumptions. For weeks, the conversation intensified. Hashtags trended. Comment sections turned into debates. Reaction videos dissected every lyric of his songs for hidden meanings. Even unrelated performances were analyzed as supposed clues. Bruno Mars, without saying a word, had become the center of one of the most persistent celebrity rumor cycles in recent memory. And then, unexpectedly, he spoke. It did not happen in a traditional interview setting. There were no flashing cameras, no headline-grabbing press conference. Instead, it came during a small, controlled appearance where Bruno was asked about the constant speculation surrounding his life. He paused for a moment before responding, not with anger, not with denial, but with something far more subtle: perspective. He acknowledged that fame naturally creates stories around people, especially when those people choose to live partially out of the public eye. He didn't confirm the rumors in the way the internet had imagined. Instead, he addressed the emotional weight behind them, the way misinformation spreads, the way narratives form without truth, and the way public figures often become characters in stories they never wrote. What stood out most was not what he confirmed, but what he refused to validate. He didn't feed into the gambling narratives, didn't acknowledge financial crisis theories, and didn't dramatize his personal life. Instead, he gently pushed back against the idea that every aspect of a celebrity's life must be explained to the public. His message was simple: not everything believed online reflects reality. Still, the moment was enough to send fans into deeper interpretation. Some believed his refusal to directly deny specific rumors was itself a form of confirmation. Others argued the opposite, that his calm dismissal proved there was no truth to the speculation at all. As always, the internet split into competing narratives. But behind all the noise, something more important was happening. Bruno Mars was taking control of his own story again. In the days that followed, discussions about him shifted slightly. Instead of focusing purely on scandal, fans began revisiting his career, his musical evolution, and the sheer consistency of his success. His performances were re-evaluated not through the lens of rumor, but through the lens of artistry. The attention slowly drifted back to what had made him famous in the first place: the music. Industry insiders noted that Bruno had always been selective about what he shared publicly. Unlike many artists who build their brand through constant exposure, he had chosen a more controlled approach. That mystery, while fueling curiosity, also protected him from overexposure. But it also meant that when rumors appeared, there was little direct information to counter them. As he reached 39, that balance became even more significant. He was no longer just a pop star competing for chart positions. He was an established figure whose legacy was already secure. That position allowed him to respond differently, not by engaging every rumor, but by stepping back and letting time filter truth from fiction. In reflecting on his career, Bruno hinted that the biggest misconception about fame is that the public sees everything that matters. In reality, the most important parts of a person's life often happen away from cameras, away from headlines, and away from speculation. He suggested that what people imagine about celebrities often says more about public fascination than about the individuals themselves. By the end of his statement, there was no dramatic revelation, no shocking confession, no confirmation of the wildest theories circulating online. Instead, there was something quieter but more meaningful, a reminder that not every rumor deserves validation, and not every story told about a public figure reflects truth. Yet, ironically, that restraint became the moment that defined the entire conversation. At 39, Bruno Mars did not confirm the rumors in the way people expected. He did something more deliberate. He confirmed his control over his own narrative. He confirmed that silence is not guilt. He confirmed that fame does not require full transparency to strangers on the internet. And most importantly, he confirmed that even in a world obsessed with answers, some questions are allowed to remain unanswered. In the end, the rumors did not define him. The reaction to them did. And as the noise slowly faded back into the background, one thing became clear. Bruno Mars was still the same artist he had always been, just with a better understanding of when to sing and when to stay silent.